Hello and welcome to another Coffee with Developers live. We are here live in Berlin, but it's going to be a weird show because the guest that we have this time couldn't be here in our time because he's actually in Dallas, US. So it's a different time zone. So we recorded yesterday night the second half of this live show, which is going to be a faked live show. So we're going to be doing that. I mean, you know that from like TV shows as well, like when they say like, oh, we interviewed people earlier.
That's it. Nothing's ever really live, is it? Even when it is, it's like 5 seconds behind. So, we could just be lying and actually we're just 5 seconds in the future and we're actually live. But no, yeah, you're right. The second half is totally pre-recorded from yesterday, but we wore the same clothes. So if we hadn't told them, Chris, I don't think they would know.
Yeah, and a bit, it's kind of disgusting, isn't it? But at the same time, it's like, I mean, the weather right now is like, it's boiling here in Berlin and it's boiling in England as well. So we're kind of like just hanging on. And I want to open the window again as soon as possible. Yeah. So we just had a lot of travel behind us. So we went to the US for a week, and then we went for, before that we were in Berlin for an event, and then we were in Vienna for another event. And we recorded tons and tons of Coffee with Developers, and it was actually fun. It was actually interesting to see how fast you can nowadays just put up 2 iPhones, record something, and make a show out of it. And it was just like grabbing people randomly at events to actually get them recorded. So we have now a backlog of 18, I think, recordings of Coffee with Developer. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing. It is, and I mean, some of the companies we visited, I mean, we went to the GitHub offices, we saw Render, we went to the Twilio Signal event, and this was all in San Francisco. And then, yeah, as you said, in when we went to Berlin, we obviously met with a few other developers at Agentic. And then in Vienna, it was Co-Crafts, wasn't it? So it's kind of different events, and then some of them were partners, and some were just interesting developers that we knew had kind of interesting backstories. So yeah, some really good episodes. And like you say, I'm also really happy, Chris, that we were able to kind of pop up this pop-up studio basically in all these different locations, ranging from conference centers through to we didn't really know what we were going to get, a rooftop, on a bridge, things like this. But yeah, like small piece of kit, one suitcase, we can pop up and do these anywhere. So with us going to the States, it's really exciting because we can now go over in September and kind of speak to a lot more partners and bring more content.
The biggest issue was getting stuff from the iPhones to the machine to actually start editing them. Like that is the thing. So if anybody listening to this has a faster way of doing that, it will be interesting to see, because you said you found a hack, but there is a problem that it starts converting the video before it sends it off to AirDrop, or what's the issue there?
So, okay, I'm an Apple fanboy, but I'm also very pragmatic and realistic about the fact that they don't design things to be particularly customizable or whatever. Now, what they've done is they've got a feature on the iPhone cameras that you'll know about, the cinematic mode, where it simulates, like digitally, it simulates the kind of depth of field and aperture that you would get on a camera. So a blurry background, effectively. Now, that looks really nice. But what iPhone does is, before it gives you that video file to actually import it into your video software or to get it off of the phone, it has to process this digital cinematic mode. And so that then stops you sending it anywhere, doing anything with the footage, until this kind of process that has no update, no UI to actually let you know really it's happening. It just sort of freezes, and then it'll say, yeah, it's done. So what that then means is that you have to wait for this cinematic mode to be put on. Unless you AirDrop it, then somehow it kind of forces it through really quick, and then you can use it. So it's just a complete, it's a workaround that even in the age of AI, Chris, I found that on some, Mac World type forum, and it was just one comment, like the old days, someone saying, I don't know why this works, but try this. And then it did. So yeah,
that's what I like about Android. I just connect a USB drive to it, or like a cable connected to my machine. It becomes a drive, and that's it. Like it feels so weird that you're always like in the I guess taking away the opportunity to actually tinker with things is the success of Apple, because people don't have to worry about it, people don't have to care about it. But at the same time, when you want to do something, it gets really frustrating at times.
Yeah, do you know, I actually heard something on this before we move on, because I know we'll get to some of the stories from the week, but I heard something really interesting that somebody had said about this, where because kids today and young people have grown up largely with iPhones or iPads, even as babies, there was this idea that actually we've forgotten about a file structure, and that kids today don't really have the concept of a file structure. And that if you said create a folder in your head and then inside of there create three folders and inside of there create 3 folders, they might be able to visualize it, or we would rather. But the kids, in the same way as perhaps a generation above us or 2 generations above wouldn't have a file structure, in their mind, they think that kids perhaps in the same way don't have a file structure because they're really just accessing their files through these kind of third-party or like photos apps that kind of hide away the actual organization of the files.
I wonder if that's not the thing that always was the case. Like the amount of times I had to explain to people what a folder is, and basically people not knowing. Like, I mean, I remember when I worked in an office and I wanted to get you people to use Firefox instead of Internet Explorer, I just basically put the icon on the desktop of Internet Explorer and connected it with Firefox and told them, oh, the interface changed a bit. So it's just the same thing. So they were clicking the E to go to the internet. They did not know that there was a program behind it. They did not know there was a file system behind it. And oftentimes when I was an admin really early on, like 1994, 1995, I basically turned off Explorer because people dragged and dropped folders around without realizing it. So there was, of course, an opportunity to shoot yourself in the foot to basically hide things in one from another, and then, all my stuff is gone. Like there was this horror story last week as well with that person that used Claude to actually wanted to surprise his wife by organizing her photos overnight with Claude OpenClaw, and it deleted like 4 years of her personal paintings and stuff. But then again, like, I mean, who doesn't do updates? Like, I mean, Time Machine on a Mac is a very, very cool thing. It's just get an external hard drive and update and save your machine from time to time. It's a really, really important thing to do.
Yeah, very true. I mean, actually on that, when we're talking about getting these videos, yesterday I was doing the final organization of all of the videos, about 800 videos from our trip. And when I was going through it, I started kind of realizing, there was duplicates and things that had been called like, space copy at the end and things like that. So I thought, well, okay, I could put a little script together just to kind of clear out any duplicates, make it nice and easy. Started doing that. And then I thought, this is risky because I know that there could be false positives in here and it could easily find a few and delete them. And it would only need one file to be gone. So I ended up duplicating the whole thing, running the script, and then thinking to myself, doesn't that kind of sum it up? That to do a simple task, I've really the time, again, it's the whole thing of developers spending 5 hours to automate something they could have done in 5 minutes. But it was the fact that, like, really, when you boiled it down, I'd come up with this nice fancy script to get rid of duplicates, but I didn't trust it enough. So I kept the whole thing backed up over here, 700 gigabytes worth, like, all because I didn't trust it to get rid of 1 or 2 files. And it sort of showed me the idea of you almost have to, like, I don't know how you do it, but like duplicate what you've got to start with because you just can't trust it. Even when it's files and video, you should be able to trust it because it's just file names. It shouldn't be that hard, but it shows how even on a simple script, you just cannot trust it to do something simple without mistakes.
And I mean, we discussed this when it came to like deleting lots of files. That's another issue that I find with macOS. Like deletion takes ages. And then sometimes when you have tons and tons of stuff in your bin, then basically clearing the bin takes ages as well. That's why I'm using the command line and use rm -rf. But of course, that is a real hardcore way of making sure you can shoot yourself in the foot if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah, this is it. Because after you said that, actually, I did start kind of noticing it, that I started doing things on the command line just to see, because I'm doing so much deletion of huge amounts of files. And yeah, of course, you get that instant kind of response, but at the same time it did feel like it's actually the second when you're waiting for the response that you're going, please don't delete everything. Okay, I've done it right. And that to me probably makes it not worth it for me a lot of the time, but for a wizard like you, it's kind of a second language, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that it says unlink rather than delete, because that's what it does. The file is still there, but the link to the file name is not existing any longer. So you can, if you don't do any new changes or any new writes, you can actually get it back in several fashions. But yeah, it's tricky to do.
Interesting.
Cool. Let's talk about some bits and bobs that are happening this week. So I collected a few things on a rush this morning. One of the things that I found interesting was that Fastly has a threat insight report where basically it talked to us that half the web isn't human. And I'm not surprised by this, but I'm actually very disappointed by that. Like that's like 49% of the things that are clicking on things are now machines and not rather than humans, and it makes you wonder why we actually care that much about how we write.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I thought actually there was a statistic in that kind of headline, the TLDR part, where it's 99% of bot traffic is unwanted. I just thought that was interesting because, you know, we hear so much of this kind of I suppose it's like you've got the people that love AI and love bots, etc., and love scrapers and, you know, kind of automated systems, and then people who don't. But you've got so many of the people that are saying, look, you know, half the web is kind of isn't human anymore. You have so many people saying, yeah, but that's because of AI. You know, it's not. It's useful. It's valuable. You know, this isn't so much of a problem as it makes it sound. And then you hear 99% of bot traffic is unwanted, and you think that kind of shoots that argument dead, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it feels like that's not even an AI thing. That happened before with like scrapers and like SEO and like things that basically search bots, these kind of things. We automated the web long time ago, but now we're actually going even further on that we basically take the humanity out of it completely. There was a bug on Google, which is now fixed, that you couldn't search for the word disregard. So it basically gave you an empty search result page. So that seems to be one of those like prompt injection things, like disregard previous instructions. So it seems like for half a day, that was a thing that didn't work on Google at all. So it's interesting to see that, like, if all you get is an AI result, then basically it expects you to be human. Yeah, it's like, it's weird. Like the amount of captures that I entered to not be a bot. But at the same time, bots seem to be the thing that are easier to get in. I found this as well interesting. There's
strange.
Geo Hot here, real George Holtz. George Holtz has this interesting article where he talked about that, like, AI agents are actually the cool new thing. And we've been at AgentsConf, we're playing with agent, and like 99% of the submissions that we had for the AI bit in the Congress is going to be about agentic AI and the web of agents and these kind of things. And he basically points out that that's like, okay, that's like the biggest step back in history. It's like they cannot program, and it's taken longer to realize that they can't. So it seems like we're putting far too much trust into agents at the moment, and that would create like lots of slop rather than just proper content. So it's interesting to read somebody who basically looks into that and says like, hey, let's think about it first, because I felt the same about apps. Like when it said like, oh, we need an app for that. You're like, actually, you don't. You need a search result most of the time. Or like, why would I download and pay for a weather app when Google actually tells me that, or my phone tells me that every time I turn it on? But it seems like we needed apps for that because we made money with apps.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So it's an interesting approach towards AI agents that is interesting to read. I think there are. The problem is, I think in the discussion, you don't get a nuance. You get people who hate AI, or you get people who are super into it, or others that basically don't care at all. Like you got nobody who's discussing it. Like there's one person, there's a few people out there. Simon Willison is a big one who actually will speak at our event in San Jose. So I'm super excited about that one, because every time something comes out about AI, he has something very interesting to say. And I think it's important to read these different points of views as well.
Yeah.
Now, Nolan, who actually runs the Mastodon instance that I'm on, Toot.cafe, has this interesting article about like how to use AI to write better code more slowly, which is an interesting approach rather than just like build shitloads of code with AI. That's another interesting thing to think about. It was
really good, actually. Nice article, because excuse me, as in there, you know, I think when you're saying about people kind of on the extremes, you know, they love it or they hate it. I actually thought Nolan's article, it's short, but it was really to the point, where actually I think, yes, he's got he knows that they could cause massive problems, and generally will if they're just left completely sort of agentically to do their thing, autonomously. But what I like is that he gives like really simple, not overcomplicated advice that you can put in your own words. He doesn't sort of say, here's my prompt as well. I think it's more about him saying, understand what you're actually doing rather than just saying, here's a prompt you can use, because everyone's doing that, right? Giving away prompts. It's becoming a social media thing, like you said before, Chris. Comment below to get the prompt and all of this. And actually this article is really what you want, right? Someone who's not giving away a prompt, someone who's saying there's a skill that you can give AI. And around, we're seeing so much with Claude skills, but this is particularly around when you're getting it to look at your code, what are you getting it to do? And giving it some of those principles like kiss and dry, and just saying, these are the things that I want you to look for as bugs. And then, with that, he says, I also guide it on what the proper solution is. So maybe he doesn't tell it, specifics, but he might say, this is my general kind of approach. I really like that. And I think we've got a couple of other articles in here all about this thing around taking AI from, or an LLM from being a wild, crazy, autonomous, but unpredictable thing, and kind of putting guardrails on it and putting stabilizers on it. It feels like this is a trend, and Nolan's is a really nice, easy way into it.
I also you gotta give him credit for the out-of-the-box WordPress theme from 2008 or something. Yeah. It's just great. Like it doesn't fit anywhere, but it's exactly what we want. When did he start? 2011. Rookie. I started 2005. So Google announced tons of stuff at Google I/O, but one of the biggest things that they announced for the web developer bit is the Modern Web Guidance. It's a set of evergreen expert-vetted skills to guide your AI coding agents across many common use cases to actually build web development properly with AI agents. Yeah, it's really, really cool, but it also got quite some backlash because it's once again kind of like Google telling us what the web is. And it feels like, and there was a massive backlash in the accessibility space where basically it didn't consider accessibility enough. So if you want to take a look at that, there's a huge thread on Blue Sky with people like Andrea Roselli and like a few other accessibility experts that are just wondering what's going on there. That said, they had like Lea Varou and other people actually guiding them. So there's W3C members in there. I think there's a lot of good stuff in that section. So if you don't care about web development at all, and you build everything with an agent, this is a good starting point to make sure your agent doesn't create just random stuff. So I think it's great that Google does these kind of things. It's just a matter of like, I'm always kind of worried when one company says like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say is that top bar where it says we welcome contributions and feedback on GitHub. Obviously, welcoming it and actually doing something with that feedback is different, but we would say that's kind of very much in the spirit of what we want, right? The open source mentality, at least, an approach. So hopefully, and it does say it's an early preview as well.
And it's 196 already pull requests, so it's happening. The world, the web, the open source web is happening. So I'm very happy about that. This Susan Pell has an interesting little article as well about like when you build things for the web, just use the web platform. And I mean, that's like a broken record. I said that since 2002 for people like, because we have scrolling, we have like transitions, we have all the bits and bobs that you do in React that is now part of the web platform. And using that one means if it's not available, then it doesn't work, then it doesn't block the user and it cannot break. Like that's the cool stuff about web technology that's built in. They cannot break. Whereas like your 10,000 NPM modules might not load and then you got nothing for your end users. So it's a very good reminder that how many of these cool things are in there, like link navigation, text selection, context menu, and so on and so forth, page scrolling. There was a big discussion about overflow elements being not keyboard accessible lately. There's a big issue with that one. So that's something to remember as well. But it's a good reminder of like what the wonderful things that we have right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a really nice one line in there as well, which is stop messing. It's very at the end, actually. Just stop messing with the form controls. They almost always introduce new problems while solving some existing ones. And I thought that is totally it. Like the cat chasing its tail, right? The developer saying, "Oh, I quite like this drop-down box, but I wonder if it could look like this instead. So I'm going to rebuild it with divs from scratch, and then I'm going to lose all of the accessibility benefits that I had in the first place. But now it looks how I wanted it to look. So now I'll fix those accessibility things," and you end up going back to the platform. So it's just a really, really nice kind of way of putting it, I thought.
One of the weirdest things that happened is that the Pope wrote an article about AI.
Bonkers.
Yeah. And I mean, this is pretty much incredible if you think about it. Like, I mean, there is all kind of stories that people that Anthropic go to like Buddhist monks and stuff to teach their AI about ethics and teach their AI about like what it is to be human. And it just feels like obvious that the Pope should say something about that as well. But this is very well written and very well researched, and it's a lot. That's the only thing. But luckily enough, we got Simon Willison, who actually wrote a good explanation of what he does here and what's going on there, and it's interesting. There's Peter Thiel is mentioned, and the Lord of the Rings reference, and these kind of things. So, yeah, it's again fascinating times we live in that the Pope actually talks about it. He didn't talk about Flash, and he didn't talk about like QuickTime, so that was weird.
Oh, that would be like what timeline are we living in, right? Because this seemed weird enough where you're reading like a kind of the way they've even, I'm such a nerd for it, but the way they've even made the article kind of feel like a bit like a scroll, and it's very historical and grand, and I like that. You know, it's obviously it's the Vatican, they're not going to look like a tech company, but yeah, it did feel like am I reading what I think I'm reading? Is this the Pope talking about basically ChatGPT? What is happening? So yeah, fascinating.
Maybe we should get him for the Congress. Let's ask.
Yeah. Coffee with the Pope.
See. Coffee with the Pope. So there's Microsoft reports basically say that using the tech is more expensive than paying human employees. I called it. So just saying like that's an interesting thing to read out and as well. Like it feels like if you generate a lot of stuff, then you will need people to review it. So I'm not surprised that it actually costs you more. And also that if you redo things over and over again without actually coaching people into how to become a developer. So it's an interesting number there. So, and then Fortune magazine has it as interesting. Let's talk about some geek things. This one was actually, I find it hilarious. That's basically a tracker of how many private planes are in the air right now, meaning that if something horrible happens, then the rich people would flee. So that one gives you like an emergency level, seeing how many private planes are available at the moment. And I like that kind of like that the data is available, first of all, and second of all, that somebody put the effort in to put this thing together.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, as I've said a million times, I love any kind of tracker, data visualization, dashboard. I'm just a nerd for it, right? Because I think it's stuff that we just couldn't possibly get our heads around. And I love the fact, though, that this specifically is the apocalypse early warning. You know, the fact that they've, like you said at the start, they've noticed that all these planes will start moving if something's going on. So therefore, let's look at the planes instead of anything else, and kind of that will indicate if something's happened. I just think that's brilliantly developer-ish to come up with that. It's great.
It's just ridiculous with all the data that you want and the data that you don't want. It's just, so and then like basically Times New Roman, that's the main font.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Now, you sent me this weird Angine de Poitrine that basically went around because it's basically music that cannot be generated by AI, and somebody wrote it for 2 pianos, and that's completely over my head. But you're the music fan, so that will be probably something for you to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, there's so many layers of this that are kind of hard to get your head around. So to kind of look at it really simply, if you imagine that on a piano you've got all of the notes in the scale, but then you could sing the notes between those notes, right? It would sound a bit weird, but you could do it. That's called like microtonal music. So the notes between the notes. And this band have gone absolutely massive because they're very weird looking. And yeah, like you said, the idea is it can't be created by AI because it's all of this microtonal kind of very music nerd stuff. Now, it's probably a good thing that we can't hear it, Chris. I don't know if we can hear your screen, but I would say, you know, if not, go and listen to it. But it's not the most like melodic thing in the world. Essentially, what this person has done has then used some kind of music scoring software to basically put MIDI sounds or like 8-bit sounds of the song together. But so that two people could play them on pianos that are tuned differently, like not at the correct notes. They're basically, one is slightly high and one is slightly low. Now that is taking a whole level of music nerdiness and upping it. It's kind of like saying I'm going to write JavaScript upside down, and I'm, you know, it's like it's already taking something complicated and just making it harder. But what I love is the fact that that's all then put into software. And that's the interesting part for me, is that you've then had to, you know, get this software to kind of be tuned. So like the instrument is tuned to a specific tuning, in this case, a weird piano, and then the playback as well, you know, live of those notes with rhythms and all of the kind of things that you would expect from music. I think it just really pushes that 8-bit music or MIDI kind of computer sounds music and just pushes it as far as it can go, really, to actually play in between the notes. You know, it's crazy. It's just music nerdiness and developer nerdiness put together, and I love it.
Really, like I remember the Sonic Youth concert when he had like 20 different atonal guitars on stage that were all not right, but he kept, for every song he played a different one, so that was kind of weird as well. But I guess that's where it came into.
There you go.
This is really, really cute as well. That basically at the Waterloo University, they have lots of ducks and geese on the campus. And this one is actually a tracker that shows where they are at the moment. So you don't disturb them, or you're not actually running over the ducks, or you're not disturbed by them. And again, it's like somebody building that is just absolutely gorgeous. I said earlier this morning, I got up at 5 o'clock because I couldn't sleep because of the heat. And I walked from my house, from my partner's house to my house. And in the middle of it, in the middle of Berlin, there was a duck in the middle of the road, just like it owned the place. So this, I should probably write a tracker as well, which is weird because there's lots of foxes running around my area as well. So that's a very, very courageous duck. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we're just very lost. I mean, it's Berlin. He could have had a heavy night the night before, and he's just lost, Chris.
Probably, yeah. Still. And again, it's a live campus map of ducks. Again, so wonderful. They can build these things these days, and the data is available for everyone to see. Don't know what it's using. It might be OpenStreetMap, actually. Yeah, OpenMap tiles
as well.
OpenStreetMap, yeah. So again, if you want to do a mashup with maps and you don't want to pay for it, OpenStreetMap is absolutely gorgeous and really, really good to use.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, important bits. There is a package that actually allows you to migrate from Axios to WhatWG Fetch. Fetch has been around in JavaScript for quite a while, but the new WhatWG is actually doing more and doing all the things that Axios allowed you to do. And Axios was the thing that was hijacked and infected millions and millions of computers lately. So it's a good opportunity to actually install that one now. And of course, this is not piracy, I hope. But yeah, we see. NPM just announced something new as well, that they now have staged submits. So instead of just having, just putting things live, there's now an in-between. So that's something that I wanted to put in here, but I forgot about. So that's another interesting thing to think about right now. So if you have an NPM package and you want to update it, it's now an extra step, which is a good safety step, I think. So that's a really nice drop-in if you just want to change things around. Dino created a Claw Patrol, which is not puppies, but it's basically an open source security firewall for agents. That might be an interesting thing to do as well. And it's Ryan Dahl behind it. So there is probably a lot of like good code in there. And that allows you to actually make sure that your agents are not running wild, but you can just install it this way with one curl call. So that's interesting to see as well. And then the last thing that I found was Audio Mass. which has nothing to do with the Pope, but basically is an online editor for audio files. So basically, this is in the browser. You don't need to install anything, and it gives you like a full audio editor, like you would expect to do. So you can highlight things. You have effects like fade in, fade out, hard limit, audio repair, and reverb, and all these bits and bobs. So basically, before that, we installed Audacity, and we realized it's an open source project, so nobody thought about UX of it, and every form field looks like 1993. But this is pretty sweet, running in the browser, no need to install anything on your machine. Allows you a multi-track mixer, tempo tools, all kind of bits and bobs that you need for audio production, and it's also available on a source on GitHub, so you can actually try it out yourself if you wanted to, and install it on your own machine if you don't want to have that hosted version. I think the hosted version is on GitHub as well, so I'm not sure where it's actually hosted. But I think it's a very cool little tool that you can do these things in the browser nowadays. And I mean, look at that. It's just mental.
It's so good. Really, I mean, my first thought when I saw it, Chris, was like Audacity. I thought, oh, it's because I went straight to effects. I saw the list and I was like, oh yeah, that's all the ones that are in Audacity. But that was always the thing that I hated about Audacity was, like you said, the UX and the UI were terrible, but also it actually is quite confusing when you get two channels that appear and you try and delete one and it would just delete both. And I would find it really frustrating all the time to kind of not delete things. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but Audacity is dead to me now. This is the one. Even though I didn't.
Well, there was another problem that at one time it became adware, so there were like ads built into the open source thing, and like there was even a malware problem at one time. So yeah, but then again, I mean, if you don't want to spend money on Ableton Live or like natural instruments or these kind of things, just for editing some WAV file, if you don't do it on the command line with FFmpeg like I normally do, then this is a really cool tool to play with. So yeah. And this is all the tips and tricks and all the news that we had. So we will now switch to our recording of yesterday, which is the rest of the half hour. But we will be available in the comment in the chat if you want to talk to us. So we met yesterday evening with Ifeanyi Otuonye from AWS, and he's going to be at our Congress, and he's going to talk about all the bits and bobs that they're going to do there. So without further ado, let's switch to the recording. Full world of Dallas, Texas. So he's not the same. Hello and welcome to WeAreDevelopers Live. This is not live because we are actually back in time from yesterday, because Ifeanyi Otuonye, our guest here, is actually in the wonderful world of Dallas, Texas. So he's not the same time zone, so he cannot be live in Berlin unless you want to be completely tired and annoyed. So Ifeanyi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just it's crazy how like you have my name perfectly pronounced. I don't even have to tell you, because most people they be like, they're too scared to even pronounce it. Like, how do you say your name?
I love that in LinkedIn there's a feature that you can actually record a pronunciation of your talk, and there's a little icon then next to it, and you can click it, and people can hear what you want to be pronounced as. So that's pretty nice as well. So I'm getting the feeling that you work for AWS. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I am a technical evangelist / developer advocate, however you want to call it, however you want to see it. I'm on the AWS DevX team, developer experience team.
So you got huge data centers in Dallas, aren't you? So are you going there from time to time and turn on computers and turn them off again? And
I've actually never had access to any of the data centers here, but obviously we have so many all around the world. I've never been seeing any with my eyes. So.
I remember one time, long time ago, I was in living in Los Angeles, and I was at the hoster, and they showed me they were really proud of their data center, and I'm like, so where's your backup data center? And they're like, oh, that's the building over there. And I'm like, so it's on the same grid. So it's on the same grid. So if there's a power outage here, there's a power outage there. And he's like, oh yeah, like they hadn't realized that for like 5 years, and they're like, okay, redundancy is not a thing we planned for. So we will chat a bit what AWS is going to do at our Congress and what you're going to be, what you're involved in. But first of all, because we record this right now and we're not going to have it live tomorrow, I thought we're going to play our game called Fake or News. So you can actually start playing with us and actually and actually get a bit more involved or get a bit more excited about what's happening here. The game is easy. I show you headlines, and basically if these headlines, you have to tell me if these headlines are real or if I made them up. So you got 30 seconds for each of the answers, and Dan also doesn't know them. I wrote them 10 minutes ago. So we will see how we actually can get that sorted. So let's play Fake or News. AI writing. AI editors immediately begin writing Wikipedia articles about Wikipedia's AI crackdown.
Wow. How much time do I even have? Wikipedia cracks down on AI, right?
That's Wikipedia.
I feel like AI editors immediately begin writing. I feel like people would do that. Like the world is going that way. And I say yes, this is real. I can see this is real because this is happening right now, even on, this is fake.
Well, they probably would write angry blog posts elsewhere, but not on Wikipedia itself. Japan can't make robot wolves fast enough to counter the rise in bear attacks.
Wait, that one you have to think about as well, don't you?
Make robot wolves.
Why would you make wolves? No, you wouldn't need wolves.
I mean, Japan has a lot of robots, actually. So this might not even be too fake. Now, bear attacks, I say fake.
You shouldn't have listened to me.
Chickens without eggs. De-Extinction Company creates artificial egg.
No, wouldn't that be an extinction company if it's an artificial egg? Wait, no.
So they're making an artificial egg so chickens don't go extinct? Is that what we're trying to do?
Would it make an artificial chicken?
Creates an artificial egg, so that means they've done it. I say fake. Hasn't been done yet.
Oh, come on. Okay, whatever. Go for the opposite.
We're getting everything wrong so far.
Waymo expands pause to keep 4 cities. Waymo expands pause to 4 cities as robotaxis keep driving into floods.
No, they're growing. They're definitely not pausing. Right?
I say growing too. I think I would have seen this in the news if this actually happened. Please be news. Please. Yes. I got one right. Oh, what? Oh my God.
Tesla is recalling its cheaper Cybertruck because the wheels might fall off.
It feels a bit real.
Recalling it's cheaper. I say true.
Yeah.
I say news.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're getting it.
Silicon Valley bets 200 million on AI data centers floating in the ocean.
Yeah, we can imagine that.
Bets 200 million.
It's not that much with the investment that's going in.
I feel like it would be a lot more money for that to actually happen.
That's true.
Floating in the ocean. I say false since they're doing everything on land. So what?
Wow.
200 million. Okay.
Archive introduces AI detection badge. Papers that get a pass get a gold star. Papers that fail get submitted to ChatGPT for peer review.
It's clever.
Papers that get a pass get a gold star. Papers that fail get submitted to.
So the AI would read its own.
I say fail. That doesn't make any sense. No, please don't be news. That would be crazy. Okay, fake.
Got it.
What they did is actually ban people for 1 year for submitting things that have been created by ChatGPT. So that's another thing that they did. Zoom meetings secretly turned into AI podcasts. Listeners report 40-minute episodes mostly consist of "Can everyone hear me?"
I mean, there's different things for different people. Some people would watch that.
I'd say false.
Listen to it.
It's false.
I hope it's fake.
It is fake. Fired hacker twins forget to end Teams recording, capture on crimes.
End Teams recording. I say true.
Yeah.
True. I can definitely see this happening.
Yep, it's news.
Yep.
LinkedIn rolls out anti-AI slop filter, accidentally removes 30% of all posts on the day.
30%. 30%. I can see this happening. 30% is kind of high, even though that's all I see. tell you the truth. But all posts on the day.
Seems too high. I'm with you.
Let's say false.
Yep.
Nice.
OpenXI expands no goblins policy to include elves, orcs, and anything that could distract codecs from shipping features.
Expands no goblins. Elves, orcs, anything that could extract codec. I feel like this is so fantasy-wise that it could actually be true. Because this is like, it's too out there for it. It's too easy for me to say false on this. I'm gonna say true.
You've got good instincts. I think you've got good instincts. Yeah.
I'm gonna say true.
It's fake. What are you talking about? Amazon requires senior engineers to sign off on all AI-assisted changes. Senior engineers immediately delegate sign-offs to AI.
Requires senior. I guess this is something I should know, right? I actually don't know this. Amazon requires. Wait, how do we even know if this is true or false?
It can be, surely. Yeah. It's clever, but no.
It's fake.
False.
OpenAI's Codex introduces AI pets to help developers write code.
AI pets. False.
See, I feel like it's true, but I'll go with you. We'll say false.
It's true.
Oh.
Wow.
So we had AI pets. I mean, we got VS
pets.
Code pets, and now we got AI pets. So it's basically, I don't know, token patrol or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's just amazing. Like some things you can't come up with, like chickens without eggs, and the robot wolves. That was a great YouTube video on that one. Instead of just getting dogs or something, they just make robot wolves in Japan because I guess Japan's got a Japan.
What's the situation with the 200 million on AI data centers, though?
Yeah.
We didn't think that was enough.
I have to go and Google that now.
Yeah.
I think it's basically an intro to it. I mean, it's like the possibly starting. I assume they support a company that has a patent on that or something like that. I mean, the other thing, of course, that everybody says like, oh, we got to need data centers in space, which is another ridiculous thing. But like, I don't know. Yeah. Well, that was fake on news. So you did incredibly bad, but that's pretty normal. So like we all, I mean, as I said, like we're living in times where it's really hard to come up with stuff that is more mental than what's happening at the moment. So that's pretty bizarre. Ifeanyi, you come into our Congress, AWS is. Are you coming as well?
There is a slim chance that I would not, but yes.
Okay, cool. So what is AWS planning to do at the WeAreDevelopers World Congress beginning of July in Berlin?
Awesome. So my team specifically, this year, we want to do something more hands-on in addition to the traditional booths and demos that we've done before. So instead of just talking about AI tools and the cool things that we can build with it, we are giving devs the chance to actually build the cool stuff with the tools live at the conference. So we were doing that through a hackathon, right? So more about the hackathon and why we're doing it, right? So it's going to be something that's going to be cool. So we're hosting a multi-day hackathon. So, usually hackathon is like, 24 hours or 3 days over, but it's going to be more of like timed periods and it's different like checkpoints. It's also going to be like gamified. So I'll talk more about that. So we'll be hosting the multi-day hackathon and it'll be focused on agentic AI or modern application development. And we'll be using specifically AWS for deploying on that as far as infrastructure, and we'll be using Strands Agent SDK. I don't know if you guys have heard about Strands Agent SDK, but that's one of our open source coding frameworks released by our engineers to build, manage, and deploy AI agents with minimal code. So our goal simply is to help developers experiment with AI systems in practical, builder first way, but then also in a competitive angle. So each day, there will be checkpoints. And when you hit the checkpoint is when you can move to the other, when things get revealed to you, and then you can move on to the next day. So it's kind of like you're building things, but you're also facing other teams on who's going to be the first one to hit this checkpoint and get this prize release of something that's going to actually, you have to implement in what you're building. and the first person to reach there gets more points. Everybody has to reach it for you to be considered for the prize money. But it's more of like that gamified way of, hey, we're building something, but we also have to do it better, faster than the other teams to hit that checkpoint.
Mm-hmm. So how will people compete with that? Like, I mean, they're going to an event to see talks. The first day is a workshop day. I assume that's when that starts. And then during the event, should they keep coding in the audience, or what's going on there? Like, how is that meant to work?
Correct. So during the first is going to be workshop. So we're going to be having a workshop that exposes everyone to a level playing ground of strands and AWS, especially Agent Core. So after that, the next day we will have they can continue building throughout the day, right? And there's a specific slot to where we will have a booth where we have our support, our technical support, and also everybody who will be at the booth. So if you have any questions, you can come up and ask specifically about your building, or you just want to come and chat and chill with us. But basically throughout the entire days, you can build, but you don't necessarily have to build the whole day. It's just during those specific slots if you want to. So
yeah, that makes sense, because otherwise they won't be able to see the talks, which
is
kind of annoying.
Exactly, which we don't want. We don't want to take away from that, right? So you can go and watch your talks, but then when you have any downtime, you can continue to build. You can come over to the booth and access any questions, and we can also assist you on what you're building.
So what's agentic AI and like hands-on is a big topic. What kind of challenge are you thinking? Is there something to solve? Is there something to hack? Is there something to access? Or is it just like, here's the tools, impress us with something beautiful that you build with it?
Yes. So this year, obviously World Cup year, right? Woo! That's like huge in not just Europe, but the rest of the world. USA, not so much. The thing is, I'm not from USA. I'm married. My wife is a US citizen, but I'm originally from the Caribbean. And then my name obviously originated from Nigeria. So football is like huge for me. But in USA is more of American football and other stuff. So, but I know on a world scale, like World Cup is huge, and especially World Cup being hosted in USA. So we wanted to play on football, right? So we're actually using Football for Good, which is the theme that we're using, and we're going to have different prompts that people can use to align to build on, but not necessarily. They can also have there's a freestyle area where you can build anything. Basically, we're using that theme, and you can build anything that everything that goes around football, from the players, from the people who are watching, from the coaching and the infrastructure of like from elementary to students who come up and who learn football, who are playing football, the coaches, all that stuff. Those are part of what you can do on how can we improve some of the mechanisms or anything that's going on in football to improve either fan experience, to improve how players play, information being shared to people who are viewing, or even the pipeline of how children are learning football or having more exposure to be able to play and stuff like that. So those are like the categories that we're looking at, and anyone can pick and choose or do the freestyle one, but it's going to be football themed.
Cool. I mean, the amount of data that we have these days is ridiculous. When you think about like how digitized the football fields are and the transmissions are, one of the coolest things I've ever seen was a blind friend of mine who had this little like tablet, and it would show him where the ball is right now on the field, because he was blind, and basically the data that they got from the stadium itself showed him where the players are and things like that, so he could touch the thing and get vibrations, so if there's a goal or something like that. And I absolutely adored that basically there is a way for blind people to still get a feeling of where the ball is at the moment.
Exactly.
One of my favorite failures there was like one of the first tracking tools that I've seen would track the ball and actually show it in the thing, and the referee in that match had like a bald head and kept finding the referee as the ball.
Man,
so that was positive. That's not good.
That's insane. But what you were saying is the integration of technology into sports now is just really crazy, to where there is no limits anymore. So I didn't say when I made my intro, but before I transitioned into tech, I was actually a professional athlete in the sport of track and field. So I was a long jumper for about 7 years. I signed with Nike, and that was like my career. And some of the things that they're integrating now as far as technology and AI into track and field itself, I'm just like, this is insane. Because before, when you long jump, you have to by hand, obviously measure the measurement, right? Now they're using lasers and AI stuff to automatically do it for us. And it's like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing as well with the amount of data we get for the statistics we see during a match, during a football match, like how much possession was on there, how many of the passes actually went in there, and went wide, and how many people, how far they've run, how fast they've run, how much they've run. And it's so hilariously compared to American football, we're seeing how much they run and how much football players run.
Yeah.
And then of course there's always then penalties, and then England loses. That's the end of the game normally. So
yeah, generally how it goes. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I did just think actually when you were saying about there was an example. I see this isn't live, so I might as well look it up. But there was some shirts from Newcastle United, and I believe they were for some. That's it. Yeah, there was. It was in 2024. I remember there was a T-shirt that was. They were called Sound shirts, and it was Newcastle United, the football team, and it was for young children who'd had hearing loss, and so they could, when they would go to the game and somebody would score a goal, they were obviously missing out on the atmosphere with the sound. So what would happen was the shirt would kind of vibrate all over their body, and so it was sort of meant to simulate something similar to them having the same experience, and it would mean that they would sort of know, they would get the feeling that you would if a crowd cheered around you. And so I thought that was like another amazing example where, you know, you've got all of the uses of data, but you've also got these like really creative, quite clever, you know, uses of technology that are great for something like a hackathon where you can take it any direction.
Yeah, that's
so it was
insane.
It was for kids at home, not in the stadium. Because in the stadium, they would realize people around them jumping, right?
Yeah, but it was to give them that feeling, because they would miss out on it, you know. But yeah, it was to do with it was in conjunction, I believe, with a charity, and it was I've got it here actually. They're saying microphones around the stadium captured the sound, which transmitted to motors within the fabric of the shirt, vibrating at different intensities based on the atmosphere of the crowd around them.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's like emerging into the experience while you're home. Now that's crazy. Like these are some of the I mean, going into WeAreDevelopers, some examples that I expect to see is, you know, obviously autonomous workflows, multi-step orchestration, but like AI assisted, like to retrieve information and execute tasks. Like one I thought about was, a lot of times people are watching football and let's say someone has the ball and they want instant stats of that person. Sometimes they have to go and search, who's this person's name? Let me look at their stats and blah, blah, blah. But to be able to figure out someone who has the ball, be able to pull that information so quick, who this person is, all their scores, blah, 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 like in real time or close to real time or something like that. Like that's where I can see AI agents being, that's like another level of, that would be so cool if that could have happened, if you have the option to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking then when you were speaking, sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to jump in. It was just on that same idea of, you know, my first thought was things around like safety of players and how maybe instead of having just the data being pulled, you know, where you've got their heart rate and how much they've been running, you could have a whole load of other data that's being processed by the agent in the background that might actually recommend things like substitutions based on this player is likely to get injured, and, you know, far more nuanced kind of insights than we would get as humans.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would be great, because you people, and even give the fans the information, so the fans will start screaming at the coach like, "Take him out! His heart rate is too high." That'd be so cool.
Then you get a laser like with the long jumpers, and you can shoot him so he actually is tired and these kind of things. But where do you get the data from? Because one of the biggest issues with football is licensing and IP. Like the data that people can play with. I mean, of course, you can use strands and you can use the systems that you have, but have a data set that people can play with, or is that part of the challenge?
That is part of the challenge, but we also are recommending, we have a few places that we're recommending where you can go and get data from. But part of the challenge is going to find the data. We want to leave it open, but we also are going to recommend like a few places where you can actually get it from. we want to give as much, make it as much open, and don't want to be as rigid or like the requirements. We want to be as much flexible as we can. So we offer some recommendations and we'll see. But we have some categories for winners. Is we have like the football for good champions. We have the agentic architecture, like specifically like looking at the architecture, which is going to be one of the requirements of, hey, you're building this thing, but can you explain the architecture? Can you draw something out? And we're going to be looking at which architecture fits the best into actually being agentic, and maybe even one for best responsible AI. That's people who took extra steps for that. And even sports team, like it gives room to build things that are both like technical and also fun. So I'm super excited to see what they're going to build, because I think this is an awesome theme area that I think almost anyone who's going to be there will be able to see themselves or picture themselves into it, just because football is so prevalent in Europe and the rest of the world.
I mean, I always like the robot Olympics in Japan, where they have like little robots trying to play football and falling over immediately.
Oh,
that gives you a good feeling.
Listen, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of all the robots. I'm sure you've seen the one with the robot dancing and trying to go up the stairs and then like flip-flops. That was hilarious.
I think
but not.
My favorite about this is how they give up immediately, instead of just trying to save themselves and stand up again. They're just like, okay, that's my life now, and I just keep lying. I mean, I can sympathize with that. That's exactly what I would do on stage if I have to dance to Michael Jackson. That feels like it's not the right thing to do. But yeah, it's fascinating that we have these humanoid robots that we think is the most exciting thing in innovation. And you're like, no, if it's a simple movement, then basically folding T-shirts, you don't need a humanoid robot for. You need a folding machine for, and we had that for years. So it feels odd. In terms of prizes, what can people, two things. What do people need to bring to take part? And what can people expect in terms of prizes?
Awesome. As far as who should join, right? It's pretty open to all developers, all levels. So you don't necessarily have to be AI expert to participate, because the first day of the workshop, we will, expose you and have you get experience of all the technology to this. As far as requirements, we will need AWS account. We will be offering some credits, but having the account before would be great. Builder ID, also a GitHub account, because that would be part of the challenge of you would have committed part of what you're building there. We can see it on like the first day. And then we also have some onboarding resources and guidance that we will share beforehand. And the prizes is some really cool football themed swag that our team was putting together. I was like, yo, these are pretty sick. Like, I want some. Like I think like we need to have like some for the staff, because I'm pretty sure the staff are going to be like, dang, like I wanted some of this. But we also have some awards, and definitely worth showing, because it's going to be different categories. If you're coming, definitely, come and join us, and, don't just look and watch from the sideline, because trust me, like it's going to be collaborative. It's going to be hands-on. It's going to be fun. So if you can join as much as you can, like even if you don't necessarily finish, the part that you can come in and start building and getting exposure to some of these tools, and then being with a group of people and a camaraderie and collaboration and just the competitive side of it. I think most devs, that's what drives us in general.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting with the day zero activities where the workshops are and stuff. Like, I mean, people come in early to sign in for the event. So there's going to be more, less of a hassle to actually do that on the first day. It's much more relaxed than if you come on the second day, try to sign in and get in, because it's 15,000 people. It's like, it's pretty much, it's kind of a football stadium with developers.
Yeah, exactly. Now, WeAreDevelopers has a ton of people. I was looking at the numbers of amount of people. I was so surprised, like, what? This is a ton of people.
Yeah, we're going to be in America as well in September. We're going to be in San Jose. That's ice hockey. That's not football. But so it's going to be interesting to see that. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see what people can do with that information. In terms of Football for Good, are you partnering with an NGO that is a Football for Good organization, or is it just a title that you came up with?
We are still we're still looking at specific. We had a few in the works of who we're going to partner with, but we're finalizing that. Our team is finalizing that now. So yeah, we do have I think one of them specifically what we're aiming for.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a good time as any to stop. Is there anything else you want to share with the community? Anything else you want people to prepare, or anything else that ails you right now that you want to hear the world about?
Yeah, I mean, as far as being able to register, I know that's a question people have. Details and information will be, through WeAreDevelopers event channels, and then look out for anything that we publish on our AWS socials. So look on X, look on LinkedIn and all the other platforms, Instagram and stuff like that. But we are really excited to I've never been to WeAreDevelopers, so to have the opportunity to go would be insane. I've been to Europe a couple of times. Haven't been to Berlin before though. So
you'll like it.
It's an interesting place. I mean, I lived here for 4 years now, and sooner or later the infrastructure will work. But we're getting there. I mean, right now my street is being ripped open, and after 4 years, I'm getting fiber optics. This modern thing that we heard about that sounded like a weird thing that might come in the future. Now we're finally getting it in the capital of the country, so that's pretty cool to see.
Let's go. That's fire. Happy for you, man.
Cool. Well, thanks very much. This was lovely. Let's see what else we can do if we get a more detailed, like a post-mortem of it as well. And of course, we're going to see you at the event. This was Ifeanyi Otuonye from AWS, and we're going to be finishing off with WeAreDevelopers Live, I guess, with this one as well. So all we have to say is goodbye to all of you and have a wonderful day.
Cool. Thank you all for having me.